Hi, everybody. It's me, Chrissy Mack. And to celebrate the first home game of the season for the University of Georgia, I wanted to do a very fast makeup and ghost stories episode. So I already have like my lips on and everything. I just wanted to just go over a couple of the haunted places that are on campus. In case you didn't know, I went to the University of Georgia and I love it. This is my home. There are a lot of people that come here every year to visit the university because it is a beautiful, beautiful campus. It's a very old campus. And so we do have a lot of visitors come to Athens because Athens is a beautiful city. And it was recently listed in the top 20, I believe. It might have been the top 10 even, cities that to consider moving to because it's such a beautiful place to live and wonderful place to live. And the people are friendly, even if the students are idiots half the time. But that's how us locals feel. So anyway, while I am throwing on my makeup because I am going to go to a friend's house to watch the game itself, I'm real excited. We are playing, I believe Auburn, if I'm not mistaken. I know that I got pretty upset when I found out that what was supposed to be a bye week this year, a friend of mine like planned her entire wedding around it. That's how serious we are about our football here. Like we bleed your like red and black. You don't leave your house on a football Saturday not wearing red and black. I mean, I'm wearing red and black right now. Like we for real about it. So a friend of mine actually planned her wedding around the football schedule for this year, pre-plague, obviously, on a bye week so that none of us would have to miss a game. I mean, seriously, like, we're that crazy about football. Now, I don't go to the games anymore. I used to all the time. They're a lot of fun to go to. If you've never been to one, it's an experience, man. Tailgating. My stepfather, for one, he was corporate for Miller. And so they had a tailgating thing outside of the stadium. You'd hit that and I drank for free because I was his daughter. Well, then my ex-husband worked for Coors, and Coors also had a tailgating like party where they had hot dogs, hamburgers, and all the beer, like all their products that you could buy from them. Well, since I was married to one of their employees, I drank for free. I mean, I love tailgating. It's so much fun because it's a party before the football game. And you eat with a bunch of strangers. I know this sounds so crazy because I've heard that up north people don't do this. Like I've heard other like parts of the country don't get into football, like college ball. They get into like pro ball. And the funny thing here is, yes, we care about like our teams, the Falcons, and so you have some people that, follow where the Falcons are or whatever, but we don't get nearly as into professional football as we do our college ball. And it's SEC East and West, baby. That's what we care about is the Southeastern Conference. We don't give a shit about the Big Ten. I couldn't tell you a single team in it. I wanted to talk about a couple of the hauntings that are here at the University of Georgia in Athens. While I got ready to go to my friend's house to watch the game because I'm not trying to catch COVID. And when I talk about them idiot children, like I said, I'm a local, so I can say that. And them idiot children, even though there are signs everywhere right now that say masks are required by law, they're not wanting to wear their masks. They're licking stuff. Yes. These children, if somebody watching has one of their kids going to the University of Georgia, talk to your youngin'. They're licking stuff, fussing about wearing masks. From what I understand from the fraternities and the sororities, not super happy with them either right now, because they are having huge parties on their lawns, one. And two, they're asking their pledges to not be tested for COVID because it gets reported to the university if they have a positive result. And it will also get reported to their chapter. You know, I got 2 very expensive pieces of damn paper from that institution. And those children, the way they're acting right now, really make me regret how much money I spent for those 2 pieces of paper I got from that institution, from the Terry Business College of Business. I got my business degree and I got my accounting degree, and it's such a good school, and these children are acting like idiots, and it's driving me crazy. So anyway, that's going on. But to the ghost stories. Ghost stories, Crystal. Stop getting off topic. See, again, my ADD has been off the rails recently because since I hurt my back, I'm off of several of my normal medications because we're trying to see what's giving me vertigo. And so my ADD is like going ham, and I'm having a hard time like focusing on things like talking about the Waddell building. That's what I wanted to talk about. So the Waddell building, it is the second oldest building on the University of Georgia campus. That's right, second oldest. The first oldest is actually Old College, but it was built in 1820. And it's been a plethora of different things. It's, I think, the office for special events now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's what it is now. So, anyway, Waddell building. It's not only the second oldest building on campus, it's also the only building on campus that has had 0 modifications made to it since it was built. And I think that in and of itself is so rad. Like, that's history, you know? So anyway, back in the 30s, there was a young couple who were attending the University of Georgia. Now, this young couple apparently were very, very serious. He had already declared his intentions with this young woman. They had planned on being married. That's the gist of the story that I've heard. Well, then World War II started. And the U.S., of course, stayed out of it for a long time. You know, we stayed neutral for a long time. And then eventually we joined the alliance, and our boys were called off to war. And she pledged to wait for him. because, he was her love. That he had already pledged himself to her. He was her love. That was what they were going to do, and when he got back, they were going to be married. That's just case closed. This is the story. That's what's up. And that's romantical. And unfortunately, that's not what frickin' happened. He didn't die in the war. He came back. And unfortunately for him, back when I worked, I used to be a sheriff's deputy. Back when I worked for the sheriff's department, we used to use the term Joey for when a guy got locked up and his old lady got left alone for a while. Eventually she'd get lonely and Joey'd move in. That was all, we always just named him Joey. So, unfortunately for this gentleman, and it's really sad because he was away serving his country even. So really, it's really fucked up. He came home and Joey had taken his place. And he tried to win her back. It didn't work. They fought. And they ended up somehow in Waddell Hall. I don't know if at the time it was housing or if they had a class in there. I don't know what the building was being used for during that particular time period. Because again, it's been used for a lot of stuff since it was built. But they ended up in Waddell and they were fighting and he lost his temper and he killed her. He shot her dead. One of those, if I can't have you, nobody will deals. That's really unfortunate. It's sad. Sad to hear that happen to anybody. Obviously there was something else going on in that relationship before he left for the army. If it led to that, or maybe it was like PTSD that made him do it. Who knows? But it's sad. Sad one that Joey moved in. And this poor guy's a vet. But sad too that now that his love that he was trying to win back is laying there dead in front of him. So what does he do? Well, what would anybody do? He kills himself. He decides to shoot himself too. So, in the building at Waddell now, if you go in, it does look exactly the same as it did when it was built in 1820. And 2, the legend is you can hear a girl crying, a girl screaming. You can hear fighting between a man and a woman. And you can hear gunshots if you're there late at night. So that's the first one. I had to have more than one though, because I knew that it would take me too long to at least get my eyeshadow on to just tell one story. So the second one that I'm going to talk about, because of the location where the Waddell house is, or Waddell Hall is, it is on North Campus, just off of Jackson Street. All of the buildings on North Campus, they're gorgeous. That's all of the old university there. That's like the original universities through there. But anyway, if you go onto Jackson, next to the art school is the Old Athens Cemetery. Some people call it the Jackson Street Cemetery. Depends on, who you talking to. Me, I've always called it the Jackson Street Cemetery because I'm a local and that's what us locals always called it. It is not open to the public. Absolutely no trespassing. It used to be open to the public, and then a few years ago, unfortunately, sadly, some of these children, again, I live here so I can talk about them. These children thought it'd be a good idea to go into that cemetery and break a bunch of the tombstones. And a lot of the tombstones were actually like the big plaques that were over the bodies, like they were tombs. And they busted those open and threw like trash and stuff in on top of the bodies of these people. And these people were the founders of Athens, like the founders of the University of Georgia were buried there. And the whole reason that Athens, Georgia exists is because of the University of Georgia. So the first president of the university is buried there. I believe that Mr. Millage is there. I'm not sure. I know a lot of prominent families that were involved in like the settlement of Athens and the development of Athens were buried there. But I also know it's supposed to be haunted as well. And I actually, back before you were not allowed to be there used to be a bench at the back of the cemetery, and I used to sit back there a good bit at night because I'm weird, and cemeteries don't scare me. They're actually very calming places to me because they're quiet. And since I have such a hard time focusing, sometimes I need to be somewhere where there's like no distraction, and cemeteries give that to me. I go in and it's dead ass quiet. Why? Because everyone's dead. But there's no extra stimulation for me. And so whatever problem it is that I'm trying to work out in my head, I can actually focus on it so much better sitting in a cemetery. So I used to sit in the Jackson Street Cemetery all the time, back when it was still open. And there were supposed to be cold spots all over the cemetery, disembodied voices, just like figures could be seen at times. I can tell you from when I was there, the only odd experience I ever had was it was a plot near the back. I don't know the name of the family. I know it was a family plot. There were like 4 people that were buried there that were related. I do know that because I noticed it. And the only weird experience I ever had, because the bench was like right behind there, is I heard someone at like that particular area. Like I heard someone talking and I thought somebody else was in the cemetery with me, which didn't bother me. Like I've never felt unsafe here. Another nice thing about Athens, I've never felt unsafe in this town. Like I can handle myself if I need to, but I've also genuinely never felt unsafe if I've decided to be somewhere on my own at night, even in a cemetery by the art school. As weird as that is, like that it's something that's just, never made me scared. So I heard someone talking. It sounded like a couple of people having a conversation. And I thought it was odd because, you could get into the cemetery through the back, which is how I always came in by the art school. You could do that really easily. Actually, I preferred coming in that way because I didn't like people seeing me coming in and out of the cemetery because I was like, they're going to think I'm a weirdo. And, and at the time I cared about things like that. But anyway, I didn't see them come through the back, and I was like, but I didn't see anybody come through the front either. Cause like from where the bench was, like the cemetery is actually very small. They moved most of the bodies, all but just a few, to the Oconee Hill Cemetery, which I'm going to talk about in a second. As the university expanded, they needed the land. So anyway, I was like, who's up there talking around that, around that plot? I mean, it's not my business, I guess, but I'm nosy. So I actually got up off the bench because, like I said, I've never been scared, and people here are generally friendly. And if you're going to be hanging out in a really old cemetery like that, they're not related to them. So it's probably somebody like there for the legend or whatever, or they may be there for the same reason as you. Who knows? I was just going to be nosy for a second, then go back to, my bench, whatever. I just wanted to see. I walk up there, I hear somebody talking all the way up to the plot. I hear somebody talking. And there's a big oak tree right there. So I had to go around the big oak tree and get around the big oak tree. Silence. Dead silence. Nobody there. So I was like, okay, am I crazy? Was I just hearing things? Because I could have swore I heard like a conversation happening. But there's nobody there. So I went back to the bench. like you do. Like, oh, no big deal. I think I heard something, but no, I probably didn't. It's probably just my imagination. So I went back to the bench. As soon as I got back to the bench, like within a minute, I start hearing people talking right there again. And I'm like, what in the balls? Are they hiding from me? Do they think I'm going to call like the fuzz? Are they up there smoking weed or something? Because I don't care that they are, but, I wish they wouldn't be so weird. I don't like weirdos. That freaks me out when you're being weird. Don't be weird. So I decided, and I was like, I think I was 23. No, it was after. No, it was before I had my daughter. So I would have been like 21, 22. I was like, I'm going up there just saying something and just letting them know that I don't care if they're doing drugs. Just, stop being weird. I didn't care. So I walk back up there. Like, I march up there at this point. Like, get there. Nobody there. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe there's something else going on. And I don't know about it. But there's no one else in this cemetery. I'm seriously just hearing this. This is not a real thing. This is weird. I'm gonna go hang on my bench. Hopefully whatever this is just gonna chill out and do its thing. Maybe whatever this is will like chill out or whatever. And yeah. So I went back to my bench and I didn't hear anything else. So that was that for that night. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was Oconee Hill Cemetery. Now, that cemetery, it's gorgeous. The older part of the cemetery reminds me very much of the cemeteries in Savannah. It has statues, it has benches, it's gorgeous. And like I said, I'm one of those weirdos that I totally am okay with sitting in a cemetery by myself to like just gather my thoughts. Oh, I had to hold my breath. It has statues. It has benches. I mean, it's breathtaking to look at. The only thing it's missing is Spanish moss. And I would think that I was walking through a cemetery in Savannah, honestly. Savannah or Charleston, either one. Anyway. Oh, damn it. Boop. Yeah. So, the haunting that's supposed to be there, the like primary one, because there's a couple. One, there's this weird mausoleum that's there that is supposed to be haunted. I've hung out around it because, again, I'm a weirdo and I don't mind hanging out in cemeteries. And I've meditated around it and stuff just because people don't go near it because they think it's haunted. And I personally have never felt anything there. Not a single thing. I've not seen a single thing. You know, it's been fine. Another spot is it's a grave that has a monument built that's this big pyramid. And that's another place that I've actually meditated. And I've always felt compelled to like leave things there. Obviously other people have too, because over the years I've noticed like people leaving seashells and little stones and stuff like around. So that's obviously a thing. It's not just me. So I don't know who's buried there. I don't know their story. I've never felt anything malevolent there, you know. Like I've never felt threatened. I've taken grave dirt from there a few times. That's actually my favorite spot to take grave dirt if I need it. But I mean, I've never felt uncomfortable at all there. But the haunting that I do know about, and I do believe is true, is the drunken farmer. Because I've snuck in there at night. There's a wall that you can climb over. A certain part of the cemetery. That, you hear that? That's my cat, Ollie. The one that my boyfriend swears doesn't exist. He says that I make our cat up. Because she's our cat. He named her. And she's just in there taking a shit. And he's not here, so it's not like he gets to experience any of this. Yep, I see you. I hope you're proud of yourself. Yep. Anyway, the drunk farmer, there is a bridge that's in the middle of the cemetery there, because the river runs through there. Because we actually have the Broad River that runs it's like the Broad Oconee, like it runs through Athens, Clark County. So all the way through town, you're crossing the river at some point. And there is a bridge in that cemetery. And now that bridge is basically to separate the old cemetery from the new part of the cemetery, like, because you know people are still buried there. My friend Katie was buried there she committed suicide in '99, and so she's the last person I've known that was buried there. But yeah, you can still be buried. There's still plots there. I'm sure they're just really expensive. But anyway, this farmer, he was getting his carriage going. I don't know what he was taking. I reckon some farming stuff, maybe some produce, some livestock. some hens. I don't know. Maybe a dead body. I don't know. But either way, he was in a hurry and he was drunk. And he drove his carriage off of the bridge into the river and died. So if you go at certain times of the month and at night, you see it happen again. Well, Miss Thing, like I said, isn't scared of spooks. So I was like, I want to see this drunk farmer. This will be cool. And so me and a couple of my old friends went and broke into the cemetery, because that's what you got to do. Oh, there goes my cat. My cat is now in my bathtub. It's never a good thing if she's in my bathroom, you guys. Like, she eats the toilet paper. She's tried to eat my toothbrush. I have to keep my bathroom door closed. And today I decided to film this in here, and I broke my Morphe palette. So it is put up. I cried over that, by the way. But I wanted to film something, and I wanted to try to do it in here to see if this cord would be long enough. And I've had nothing but problems out of this tripod. Now my cat's in here. Something gonna happen. Anyway, I digress. So a couple friends and I, we jumped the wall and just made our way over to the bridge and hung out. Because, there's benches and stuff everywhere. It's, again, a beautiful cemetery. And all of us were weirdos. So none of us were afraid of being in a cemetery at night. And sure enough, we didn't see the carriage with the farmer, like, go into the water. However, we did hear horses neigh. And we did hear what sounded like a carriage, like carriage wheels. And it was going over the bridge. So I 100% believe that tale. I didn't see what happened. I didn't see what people have said they've seen. However, I heard that, which was enough for me to be like, all right, we're going to check that one off as that's legit. I'm down with that. So even with all my technical difficulties and my cat, who just ran by me again, being crazy, I've been able to tell you about Waddell Hall, the Jackson Street Cemetery, which is also known as the Old Athens Cemetery, and the Oconee Hill Cemetery. I eventually want to talk to you about a couple of the old dormitories, and at least one of the fraternities that I know about that are haunted as well. But I wanted to give you some Georgia, like, UGA inspired ghost stories for today. Go Dogs! I'm fixing to go watch this game now. Have a great day. Love you guys. Thanks so much. Bye.